I've taken a year-long break from YouTube, and I sure hope that you noticed because I really missed you guys, so I hope you missed us as well. But as you can tell from the title of this video, there were very good reasons why. And so I'm going to share more about that because this is something that I filmed 6 months ago, back in the summertime in August. And I would say overall, things are getting better, so nothing to worry about too much. I definitely have my good days and my bad. And I think I should also let you know that there's somewhat of a trigger warning in case you're not comfortable or you don't feel good about listening to people talk about their health conditions or sicknesses. But I also wanted to share this not only to update you about what I realistically have been going through, but also in case this might help someone else not to feel so alone, or we can kind of become a community that helps each other in the comments. So if you feel like you relate to anything that I say, you've been through something very similar, please share with me in the comments your experience or any advice you might have for me. That would be very helpful as I am still dealing with a lot of these things. So my goal and my hope is to get back on the horse, whether it's to start doing more vlogs and sharing more about our lives, or just getting back into the cooking videos with tips and recipes and all that stuff. So I hope that you really resonate with some of the things that I said, and I just really wanted to connect with you again because you're my peeps and I miss you guys. I might interject with some updates throughout the video, so keep that in mind. And this is what I filmed in the summertime 6 months ago.
What's up, universe? I know it's been a minute and it's been a few months, and there's good reason why, and I wanted to update you. And I'm here in Pennsylvania because we moved here. I'm just kidding. I'm actually here at my parents' house and we're visiting for kind of an extended stay. This will be the first time a lot of our family members get to meet Taylor since she was born. And it's always nice to come back home. I actually don't have any family on my side in Chicago where we live, so it's always great to be back home in my childhood home, staying here. My dad has the best backyard, and he's a gardener, which is so weird because I should know how to garden. Being a chef and everything makes sense, but I don't. Nothing too serious, guys. Nothing has happened that's life-changing, but in a way it has been for me. I've actually been suffering for many months with chronic illness. Really, it was just kind of this mystery illness that I've been suffering from since basically February. I did probably daily vlogging / kind of weekly vlogging for the month of December for Vlogmas, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it, but I had to slip away from that because as soon as I posted all our videos, which ran into about January, about a couple weeks later when it was February, I started struggling with this chronic dizziness. I don't even know to this day what it was. Chronic dizziness and also chronic acid reflux, like GERD, just burning and it squeezing, and it feels like you frankly have a heart attack. That mixed in with my chronic dizziness, I felt like I was on a ride that I couldn't get off. Not like the room is spinning, but I'm spinning, or I'm swaying on a boat. I would have to grip the walls. I couldn't find my footing. I could barely even stand up. Even sleeping was torture. I'd be dizzy while I was lying down.
I've been waiting in the waiting room for about 2 hours now, and I still had my symptoms of dizziness. Didn't eat anything. Had to pee, was afraid to get up because I was dizzy. Hopefully the doctor can see me soon. I'm in the waiting room for the doctor now.
From then on, it was just a journey. I went to a neurologist. I had to get an MRI. I went to a GI doctor, and I got both an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. I went and got a heart stress test. I got an EKG, which is they send electric pulses through your heart, and then I went and I got the tests that you see in movies where they're running on a treadmill and everything's taped onto you. Also I went to physical therapy, and that probably helped me the most. And that allowed me to kind of ward off the dizziness, but then the acid reflux stayed. So basically I went to every doctor you could think of, went through all the medications you could think of. Even for the dizziness, I went through all the classic meclizine, all those dizzy medicines. Yeah, it was just really, really terrible. And it was torturous on everybody. It was torturous on Joe because he had to pull on the full weight, taking on all the stuff for parenting, and then he had to drive me around to all of the doctor's appointments, and there were a lot. I would go to multiple doctors in a week, multiple doctors in a day, and it was really tough on him, tough on our marriage, tough on our relationship with our kids. Lincoln would kind of understand, but not understand. Taylor, being so young, definitely didn't understand. She is currently 10 months, so she's on her way to 1 year old, which is amazing. I can't believe it.
Popping in to say, I can't believe that Taylor is actually over a year old now. So we had her 1-year-old party. She's about 17 months now, and she is the cutest little toddler girl. She has such a funny personality. She's always smiling, happy go lucky. She's just like happy to be alive. She's definitely been my saving grace throughout this journey because I had to take care of this helpless little baby. I mean, Lincoln is now so self-sufficient, but to still have to have this little baby that depends on you kind of pushed me to get better and to kind of not give up and lose hope.
By the way, this is my setup from my point of view. My parents don't have like patio tables or chairs out, so this is what we did. I put the tripod on there. It looks like my parents are fermenting stuff. Soy sauce, doenjang, Korean stuff. It's so Korean. I think a lot of it was triggered on by stress, but there was something definitely viral that probably attacked my vestibular system, which is what caused all the dizziness and like sending messages to my vagus nerve, which caused all the acid reflux. So basically I just felt like I was crumbling and dying from the inside out. And it's funny because as a chef, like I always joked around that I would never want to lose my sense of smell or taste. So when that was happening during COVID, I was always worried about that. I would never want anything to happen to my hands, my taste buds, or my sense of smell, because that would really make me feel like I couldn't do what I was meant to do and what I enjoy doing, my passion. And I never thought that this would take me down, like having chronic heartburn, acid reflux, and dizziness. And I was trying all sorts of stuff, like elimination diet. You guys know how much I love coffee. I gave up coffee for like 3 months, cold turkey. I actually gave up carbonated drinks of all kinds, point blank. I just don't really drink it anymore. I do it like every now and then. I gave up a lot of things. I started to write like in a food journal and like write down, oh, I think it's like, sadly enough, I think it's even triggered by like garlic.
Garlic really gets me for some reason, and I didn't know that for a long while. So I have to be very careful about eating things with garlic. And the weirdest part of it all is that everything's inconsistent. There are some days I will straight up eat like brudak carbonara, like the spicy ramen, and I don't feel a thing, and I don't have any symptoms for even days after. I'll drink coffee every day and I'm fine too. So it's just really super weird when it happens, when it pops up. But I think, like I said, it probably has like a lot to do with the overlying surrounding feelings. Like if I'm already feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or tired or anxious in some way, maybe I just don't digest my food right. And I also have a weird theory, which I don't know if it's true or not, but I did have a C-section. It was an emergency C-section. So that's like one thing I got to share with you about my birth story. I think ever since then, something's been kind of like twisted or weird in my digestive tract. And I did have an endoscopy and colonoscopy, and they didn't really find anything unusual. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not quite the same after I got the surgery. And so I think maybe I do have some sort of digestive problems. I did try probiotics and digestive enzymes for a while. I did it until the whole jars were gone, but I didn't reorder. And maybe I should start doing that again so I can just digest my food better.
I even had allergy tests taken. I was checked for like gluten intolerance and, all the blood work. So basically whatever you guys are thinking, I probably already did it, unless there's something that I really didn't mention. But yeah, most likely I did it, because when you're at the ER so many times or the doctors so many times, they pretty much cover everything. I was actually dealing with acid reflux, like extreme acid reflux, probably every other day, sometimes every day. And then even when I wasn't feeling it, I would have the stress and the anxiety of feeling like it's going to come on at any moment, because there are many times where I'd be just walking with the kids, I'm alone out, and I feel like I can't make it home because I literally feel like I'm having a heart attack, like I'm dying. I'm like, can't make it home. I'm sweating, like sweat is like drenched, like it's just pouring down my face. I can't make it home. I have to tell Lincoln, I'm like, Mommy is having a hard time walking home, and I'm like gasping for breath. And because of that, I developed like some sort of like panic attacks. And so I never had panic attacks before, but I think I developed like some sort of anxiety of just, is the dizziness going to come on? Is like the, acid reflux going to come on at any moment? So even flying over here, I knew that I might feel some sort of anxiety, just like being in a confined space. Also, it was Taylor's first flight, so I wasn't sure how she would do. That's kind of why I wanted to film out here too, because I'm just trying to find more moments of peace where I'm intentionally doing things that are good for me, like self-care and taking a moment, I'm doing yoga breathing, like diaphragm breathing. I'm trying to incorporate more exercise and walking. I'm trying to just eat better. But I'm doing better as of the last like 3 days, 4 days.
I realize even more and more that I have to focus a little bit more on self care. And that doesn't necessarily mean taking myself out on dates, pampering myself at the spa. It could just be very simple things, such as waking up earlier than my kids and having time to journal. And I'm doing a little study right now too. And I feel like just having time to talk to your friends. Like now, I do a weekly Zoom with some of my friends who are also moms with their kids. The daily stresses can get to you, especially when my house feels like it's in shambles. It's always messy. So I try to now like take a deep breath and just tackle one thing at a time, and then also let it go when it's not as clean as I would like it to be.
And then my doctor just prescribed me for a new medicine that I have to take 4 times a day. I was scared to start it when I was en route on the plane, so I started it here today. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. You have to eat it like an hour before every meal and then at night. So you eat it 4 times a day, but it, like at the moment I put it in my mouth and added water to swallow it, it's like foaming and turning chalky and creamy, and I was gagging on it. And I was like, oh my goodness, because I think it's meant to coat your esophagus and your stomach so that it allows you to eat without your acid rising up. And I've been trying to do like holistic things too, like trying to look up stuff about like yoga and like holistic, and like there's all these differing opinions about like your stomach has too little acid, your stomach has too much acid, so you actually need apple cider vinegar. Like it's like so many things out there, and I've actually really tried it all. I actually tried apple cider vinegar, I tried baking soda and water. Anyways, the dizziness was the worst thing of all. That I felt like if this is living, this is not living. I'd rather not. And it was really, really, really torturous. The hardest time of my life. I actually kind of know my triggers now. I know that if I look a certain way, and also it has to do with my eyes too. If my eyes are not focusing, I wear contacts, and if maybe they're like not focusing right, that can trigger it. So it's like different things like that.
It wasn't vertigo, because vertigo is like when the room is kind of spinning. But for me, I really did feel like I was just unable to walk straight. Like there'd be times where I'm just like gripping and I just feel like I'm moving, like on an amusement park ride, like a Viking or something. And then I'd be walking and I'd be stumbling. So I would have to hold on to somebody. It would happen sometimes when I was just riding in the car. So I would get anxious in the car. It would happen when I would get up, sometimes when I'm sleeping and lying down. The first time I ever got triggered by my dizziness, I still remember the moment. I was actually nursing Taylor, and I suddenly, like for whatever reason, felt like I had to pull my head back. So I did. I like went like this and I pulled my head back, and that motion triggered something in me and I just started spinning. And I was freaking out, and I started screaming for Joe. He was upstairs trying to put Lincoln down, and I felt like I was going to drop her because I had no control of my arms. And I was just like screaming for dear life. And I was screaming for his name to come down and grab her. And he thought I was just like acting crazy. He had no idea where this was coming from. And then I just like instantly slumped on the couch when he took her. And it was from that moment on, it would just like wouldn't stop. Like I would have like a dizzy spell maybe every single day, sometimes a couple times a day, and sometimes it would last for hours. And then when it lasted for hours, the only thing I could do was eventually sleep and feel slightly better. I tried doing like pain medicines, and then I went through that whole slew of all the doctor visits and all of the pain medications, the prescription pills for dizziness. But yeah, the only thing that really helped me was physical therapy. And I was able to go through my friend Jeannie, and I was so thankful for that. And there was just so many random exercises they give you, like even terms of like testing your eyes and like your emotions and retraining your brain. And they would like push different things on your nerves and in your spine. And like those kinds of things all helped. But yeah, that combined with drinking liquid IV, making sure I was hydrated, had electrolytes, was sleeping, and I didn't start doing triggers that I knew might set me off. So through physical therapy, it was confirmed that I couldn't do those motions. Like I said, when I had pulled my head back, yeah, for a while, every time I even climbed the stairs, it did something. And so like now I kind of know. And also like when my contacts are starting to feel a little wonky, I will definitely change them right away. I also made sure I went to the eye doctor and got new prescriptions. So it's just like a lot of different things. But yeah, the dizziness, I definitely don't want to underplay that. It's just that it went away eventually. And the acid reflux has then stayed on for the entirety of the year when I'm still dealing with it. There was something else that I forgot to mention when I was talking. Not only was I dizzy, but I would get like migraines every now and then. So at first I thought it was triggered by migraines. And then on top of it, I always felt like I was very sensitive in my scalp. Like there was like a tingling here, as if like there was a brick on my head. And even if I touched it, it would send an electric shock down my head. It would just feel like someone was electrocuting me right here. And it would feel very uncomfortable, creepy crawly, just very sensitive. And so through physical therapy, they understood what I was going through, and they said, you have to desensitize that feeling. There is something that's going on that's sending like nerve reactions that's making you feel that way. So I had to do a lot of like touching my head a lot and exposure therapy in a way. I thought that would not go away. That was going on for months, and I was so annoyed. Like I remember I would just be like sitting in a restaurant, and then if I accidentally touched my head like this, there'd be an electric pulse just going through my whole body. I would feel super strange, shivery, and then I would get dizzy, and I would just be sitting there like trying to eat, and just nobody knows what I'm going through. And it looks so weird because on the outside you look perfectly fine and functional, and I had to be. I was a mom of 2 young kids. We had a business. Like there was nothing that I could do. I couldn't just check out. If it weren't for Joe, we wouldn't have made it. And I feel like thank God for Joe, that he was there to drive me around and take care of the kids and pull the extra weight and do house chores and all those things. My friend Ani came to even just like vacuum my house and like hold Taylor, and she was trying to give me advice. I had people like drop off food. I had so much help and support during that time.
Yeah, it's been a road because if you guys watch my other videos, I've been dealing really with the chronic illness for a couple years, because when I was pregnant with Taylor is when I had the Bell's palsy, and then during pregnancy I developed gestational diabetes and then hypertension, which is high blood pressure. And then after giving birth to her, thankfully the gestational diabetes did go away, but the high blood pressure stayed. And so now I have blood pressure medicine I have to take all the time, which is probably kind of like neck and neck with the whole stress thing. And then Bell's palsy is something that goes away but doesn't go away completely. Like you always have it, and it could be triggered anytime. So if you are too stressed or you have some sort of viral thing, it could come back. And so then I deal with like a lot of like chronic eye tearing, because this is the side of my face that had the Bell's palsy where the muscles fell. I just have like uncontrollable tearing sometimes from this eye still. On top of it, there was something that I might have not shared yet, but when Taylor was born, she was diagnosed with galactosemia, which in the end, after many tests, it ended up being false. It was like a false reading on her birth screening. But during the time that we thought that she had galactosemia, we had to take her completely off of mother's milk, formula, anything dairy. And then basically it's supposed to be an intolerance to anything dairy related for your whole life, but it's an extreme case. It leads to like, I think, liver or kidney failure. It leads to blindness. I was just like, what? Why does she have that? And so we had to go back and forth to children's hospitals, give her blood tests, like do all these things and change her diet. And she was like having intolerance to the soy formula. And so I think that while this was all going on is when I also did Vlogmas, because I just wanted to continue working and it was fun for me. But I think it was just a lot of stress, and I was really tired, because I'd be editing those videos really late at night when the kids are down.
Popping in again, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my due diligence unless I asked you to please subscribe to our channel. If you've just been a long-time viewer who has not subscribed, the subscribing really does mean a lot to us. We're on our way to 100K subscribers. We hope we can reach it by the end of this year, and we get that little YouTube plaque so that we're just kind of like acknowledged by them. That would be pretty awesome. Please leave comments, which only boosts this video up in the algorithm. Share this video with anyone else who might be suffering through something similar to me, that they would feel comforted to know that they're not alone and that we are a community together trying to find a solution to what's going on. Before I had chronic illness myself, I kind of understood conceptually what it might feel like, but I didn't realize how alone it feels and how debilitating and how the whole world around you doesn't really understand what you're going through. Yeah, so if you feel that way, don't feel alone. Shout out to me, leave a comment down below.
Joe is around sometimes, but for the most part, we made a deal that he gets to work mostly, and then I watch the kids during the summer. And then when Lincoln goes back to school, then, we can kind of like talk about it again. But the cool thing is that even in the midst of this busyness in the summer, Joe and I have decided that we're going to try to jump on a project together. We're actually thinking of launching a print-on-demand shop on Etsy, and we'll talk more about that, and we'll be kind of like branded stuff, but not really. It's not really going to be about me or about us, but it's going to be somewhat related. It'll be probably more like foodish related prints, things like that. So that's as much as I can tell you right now. As we decide to do it, I'll try to take you on a journey. And what else? Taylor's been growing so nicely, and I know I didn't really make an official like meet Taylor video, but she's just a spunky little girl, smiles and cracks up a lot, although people see more of her serious side, and she likes me the most right now. But she's very active and crazy, and like definitely a second child. I'm a second child, so I can say that. And Lincoln is the best older brother, loves her so much, adores her, and he's so sweet to her. So it's like really blessing to see. Lincoln is gonna go into first grade, and it's gonna be crazy because he's gonna be in the true school system going forward. He's really into Minecraft and video games, and he just talks so well. He's really funny and spicy.
Like, it's not even Tomato Tuesday.
Tomato Tuesday.
That's kind of what my summer's been. We went on a couple mini trips with family and friends, and now this is our last trip, our last hurrah. It's not really a vacation because it's visiting family, and we're just staying at my parents' house, not in a hotel, Airbnb. We might try to get a season pass to Sesame Place since we're here for like 2 weeks. And Sesame Place is right near my parents' place, but I've like never gone there my entire life. Even though I grew up here, I'm like, how come I've never gone there? So it'll be kind of fun to see this amusement park that's been near my place my place growing up this entire time. So there's that. We're going to see my sister's family, and they live closer to New York, so it's kind of a trek, so we might stay there for a couple days. Going to see a couple of friends, and we're going to celebrate my great aunt's birthday. She is 94, I believe. Nuts. But she's still kicking it. She's still fancy. She still dresses it up, wears accessories, and is very with it. And so I aspire to be like her. But she's always been around. She used to work at my parents' store with them, and she lives really close by. And so because of that, my cousin Tony and his fiance Mac are gonna come up here from Virginia, and they're gonna celebrate with us too. For, you know, we're gonna do a little party here at the house. I might like decorate, do cake and that kind of stuff.
Happy birthday to you.
And whenever I come back home, you always like regress a little bit. So even though I know that I want to help out and cook and things like that for my parents, it's kind of nice to sit back and just kind of be parented and give me like fruits from their garden. And of course, they're always trying to give their best. Like, these are my parents who actually went a little bit viral on TikTok because I shared about them when they came and visited us in Chicago for the first time in like, I don't know how many years. And they brought over everything but the kitchen sink. Like, they brought so many knickknacks for us. I showed that on TikTok and it went like viral, and it's still getting a lot of traction. But these are the same parents that we're visiting here. So of course they're like pulling all the stops. But it would be nice if they could, go on adventures with us, like visit Sesame Place one day or like do things like that. So we're gonna take it easy because they're not in the best like mobility. It'll be a good, nice, relaxing time. My parents already made us kalbi, which is my favorite. My mom's probably gonna make ojingo bokum, which is like spicy stir-fried squid, which is one of my favorite meals. And my dad's cucumbers and Korean peppers and perilla leaves are like the best. They're so sweet because he does composting, and it's to the point where it's like so peaceful and serene here that there actually was a bear here recently in their backyard. There were 2 bears that escaped or that were spotted around the area, and one of them was in my parents' backyard. So now I'm like kind of scared because there's like a legit woods behind me right here. There's a lot of activity, a lot of people to see, a lot of food to eat, and so I'm thankful that my acid reflux is dying down because now I can actually enjoy food again a little bit. I was not able to enjoy food for so long, for many months and every day, and it was like little joys were being sucked out of my life little by little, like the coffee, the soda, and the food in general. Even now, I'm very careful and I watch what I eat, and I kind of have a feeling when I think I'm gonna have acid reflux, and I always carry around like Pepsodent C and like Gaviscon now around with me like permanently. But I'm hoping that this new medicine will just help my esophagus to heal, and then that will give it a chance to just kind of like get back on track and get better.
All this to say is that I'm actually feeling much better. As you can tell just from my mood in this video, in this portion, there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. The way that my friend put it is that I had a lot of symptoms and a lot of sicknesses I went through from the beginning of my pregnancy through the delivery, through postpartum until now. I had a lot of stress factors like Taylor's galactosemia scare. There was a lot of changes that were happening in our lives too that caused stress. We were going through financial situations. We were wondering what our purpose was. And very recently, actually, Joe and I made a huge step to let go of his part-time job that I talked about before and dive deep and fully into what we're doing right now. And so when I talked about our new business idea, that's part of the reason that we're diving deep. It's going to be Chef Julie Yoon and what we're doing here, but also doing that side business, our Etsy shop, and then also possibly doing something else. Like I mentioned, doing membership a million times. So we're thinking about it, we're stewing on it. And I think that's the hugest change that happened for us from last year. And do you remember that time where I interviewed Joe and he was sitting in the hot seat and we were talking about this is our last year. If we don't make it, then we break it. We're just not going to do it. It's not like we made it, but we did make a decision to take steps forward progressively and actively to be more aggressive in trying to roll that snowball up the hill now. And I don't know, I think it's partly because of our age and the fact that we have 2 children now. We just feel like if we're ever going to try to pursue our dreams and goals, that we should just keep going and do it now and be like full in. It doesn't mean that he or I will not get another job to kind of supplement our income while we're trying to roll that snowball up the hill with our branding and everything. But for now, we're just trying to do what we can with our own brand, our own skill, our own hands, our own business. So it's kind of exciting, but that's also leading to stress. And so I think that's what also is leading to me recently developing the acid reflux again, which is why I'm correlating this more to stress. And even as I'm talking to you right now, because I'm sharing so vulnerably and I'm also filming after a long break of not filming, I'm feeling the acid reflux rise up right now. It's like squeezing me right here, almost like, you know what it feels like? Like it feels like you have to burp really bad, but you can't let it out. And so it's just like stuck. That's kind of what it feels like. On an extreme day, it's worse than that. It's also squeezing and like really tight and like almost like esophagus spasms.
But yeah, I'm definitely getting back on track. I'm starting to cook a lot more with more passion, starting to feel more like myself. And Taylor's older too, so it's getting a slight bit easier. And pretty soon Lincoln will be in school, so that will be helpful too. And I can probably get back on track in that sense too. Going forward, I'm going to try to like do some more vlogging. I don't know if it's going to be more like daily or weekly vlogging and compilations, and then I'm going to eventually try to get back into the recipes and the cooking. But I hope you understand why I couldn't. I was almost going to just let the channel die because I was like, everyone just wants to come here for the food and cooking, and if it's not about that, then I shouldn't post at all. But you know, I'm trying not to be so defeatist about it. I feel like it's like a new era of YouTube and social media, and I feel like now people just like listening to the story. Hope you enjoy whatever content I put out going forward. I know a lot of you guys are so faithful. You've been hanging on there. You've been our unicorns for so long, and you're still waiting. And I know that you get pretty curious about like, where am I when I don't post? My health has really been kicking me in the butt and my family's butt. It's been really rough. I'm definitely out underplaying it just because I'm simply not feeling symptoms right now. But on my bad days, I'm just out. This is a lesson to me of how to manage stress. I just feel like I've been just dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress, like PTSD, from even my labor, because I never even really talked about my labor and delivery story, but maybe it's for another time. Maybe I'll just sit down with you when I'm back home and talk about that too. But that was really scary, and it was really rough, and I went through a lot. And so that could be, starting from there, a trigger of like what kind of led up to all these things. And I feel like I just need to have more time for myself where I do things that I enjoy. Like I used to go thrifting a lot, and I don't really anymore. And I just feel like I need to map out time to do that, like have coffee with a friend, go thrifting, have time for myself, do some breathing and exercise, and I don't know, do things that give me joy. So I think one of the things that Joe wanted me to do was kind of lay off of the shooting videos and putting on social media and like feeling that pressure because he thought that was leading to my stress. But as I took a long break, I realized that this is actually part of my joy. This is really what makes me me. Being able to share, talk, be in the moment, and really record things for our history's sake. And when I let a lot of those moments pass by without recording, I don't really feel like myself. When I'm not connecting with you guys, I don't really feel like myself. And when I'm not sharing important information, I don't feel like myself. I hope you stay tuned for what's to come. And yeah, maybe here during our trip, I'll start vlogging again. I'm glad you're here for the ride. Thanks for staying, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
That was a lot, and I'm glad you made it to the end. So if you did, make sure that you put that unicorn emoji because you guys are unicorns. And also, please let me know if you have any advice or if you can relate. I've heard it all, I've done it all, but maybe I didn't. If you want to share something with me, give me a word of encouragement, or you just want to share about your experience that you've been going through with your own kind of chronic illness journey, or dealing with stress and anxiety, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And I can't wait to share more good things. I mean, we're trying to still work out a work schedule of like when I can like work and watch kids and stuff, but I definitely want to get around to editing the footage that we've already done. Yeah, we have so much stuff in the archives that are ready to be shared, and I can't wait to do that with you. And I can't wait to get back into the cooking. It's going to be hard trying to figure out how to do that right now, but we will try. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.